3, 2, 1. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, the current democratic system, whether it be in the Philippines or some parts of Africa or in emerging markets and other places around the world, is to a large extent broken. It's broken by systemic and structural inequality caused by the spheres of influence that money and reputation can bolster, and as a consequence, the heart of opening government case is to say that democracy, though cool, is not an overriding and absolute value, and we need certain fetters in place as a check and balance in order to break apart political dynasties. Political dynasties who have held a lot of these countries and their economies and people hostage, and we are here to free them from the shackles of their bondage. I have a couple of points of setup for this debate. The first is, we support the ultimate dismantling and overhaul of the political system in order to be able to champion grassroots democracy when we allow people from nowhere, people without money, people who have the intention to be able to lead, an actual chance and capacity to be elected and have a chance to be able to do what they want to do. You might wonder, where are you setting this debate? Wherever it matters. We think that the more important nuance is in shithole places like in the Philippines and some parts of Africa. And we think if they want to say, are you going to do it in Europe or North America? For sure, we're here to take the best and widest burden to have the best possible debate. The second is, what exactly is going to happen? Who do we mean by family members? We're referring to direct family members like spouses, family, grandparents, etc., up to a certain acceptable consanguinity or degree of relationship. Because as Kevin Bacon said, everyone's related up to like 6 or 7 lines of consanguinity. But we think we're going to take an acceptable threshold, meaning if you push it far enough, everyone's related to someone. That's not what we're willing to quell with, so oppositions shouldn't squirrel us on that. The third is, you might be asking, what happens, Josef, to the existing people in power? Because those people are part of political families. They're going to finish the term and then they're out. Opposition might also say, oh my god bro, what the fuck? Everyone is in power. Right now, everyone is a political family member. Yup, we're gonna dismantle everybody. That is the point. How will this happen? Number 4, we recognize a transitionary period that's going to happen, and we're going to have multiple electoral cycles happening in this transition. There are outgoing political families and incoming fresh faces in order to be able to properly turn over what's happening and make sure that the country does not absolutely explode. Before I move on to my argumentation, if any of that was unclear, opening opposition, go ahead. 3, 2, 1. Closing opposition, anything? 3, 2, 1. All right, moving on to my first argument, the main case coming from OG. Why is this justified? And why is this going to be better for the political landscape of society and a defense of our counterfactual, meaning how will shit not absolutely explode to crazy land? The first layer of analysis is to understand that political dynasties, who largely are political families, domestically and internationally, hold majority of wealth in that particular country. That is to say that this wealth is often bound in relations of power. This looks like the missing billions of the Marcoses, the PhilHealth bullshit of Lenny et al. And other pink lawans, the pork barrel scandal way back of Estrada and GMA, and we think that all of these things are ultimate exercises and forms of graft, corruption, and plunder. These things, we think, in our side, sure, are still going to happen to some extent, but not to the severe fucking extent of status quo, where you literally have less than 100 families or individuals controlling 95 or maybe even more % of GDP and % of wealth for these particular countries. The counterfactual to this is that people on our side who come from the grassroots, who are the ones who are able to serve, are going to also be able to lead from the bottom, and as a consequence, we're really able to test what they stand for. But side opposition might say, doesn't absolute power corrupt absolutely? Meaning it's only a matter of time for these particular people to become a political family themselves. But we think that's exactly where our setup also comes in, and we're going to say that we're going to continue having these people leaving and people coming in order to make sure that people don't get too powerful. So the question then becomes, to what extent are you going to allow this? I have a couple of metrics, right? This includes, but is not limited to, A, the number of family members. So I'm willing to defend one family member per family, or one political member per family, maybe a bit more, but not 50 people, right? B, the length of tenure, meaning you can have maybe 2 back-to-back electoral cycles max, but anything above that, fuck you, you leave, get replaced by someone else. And C, this is proportional to the amount of net worth an individual has by virtue of their SALN, or their Statement of Assets, Liabilities, and Net Worth, so that you don't get too powerful and you don't end up controlling certain provinces and regions in the area. The third point, given a lot of my setup, is to be able to defend the counterfactual. Because opposition will say, malabo yan, bro. You're gonna have no projects being finished, no sense of continuity. We think that you might be wondering, what are these rich families going to do? Because on our side, you still have politically connected and rich families. You allow them to focus as technocrats on the economy, wherein they're able to do what they do best in particular key industries. And we think even if they do still have control and monopoly of those industries, they can privatize things and do it more efficiently, as opposed to them fucking sticking both of their spheres of influence in business and in politics. We rather have them just in business, and they have every incentive structure to work with the new blood you get in the political landscape, because they still have a target market to serve. They still have customers, they still have people they have to appease to. So that boxes out a lot of brain drain, capital flight, that opposition might accuse us of. Ultimately, what you get from our side, you get a very clear picture of what's going to happen, and you get a counterfactual wherein people from other party lists, like gender minorities and other fringe areas, are able to come into power, and people have the capacity to vote for them. With this, we are very proud to open the debate.